Good morning, CBA. It is delightful to be here with you this morning. I've got lots of devices here with me this morning, and I want to assure you that I will not be checking emails while I'm speaking to you, and I will see all of you who are checking emails while you're here with me this morning. Now, can you all hear me sufficiently? About down the back, can you hear me all right? Terrific. Well, if we have a look at what we're talking about this morning, I realise I've created a big topic for myself, but it's something that I believe in quite strongly. And overnight I was reading in the Wall Street Journal an article very similar to this that was saying, you know, 10 years ago, we used to turn up to work and we just went about our lives and we did what we'd always done and we got along with people, and if we didn't like it, we were shown the door. But today, business has changed, and we can't just always turn up to work with our annoying habits, and work can get over it. We can't just turn up in our outfits that are who we are, and work has to work around us, because they have found a way to measure annoyingness. And they've found a way to measure, the more grammatically correct version of that is likability. And some studies will say, and this was in the Wall Street Journal a couple of months ago, that likability counts for up to 30% of your success at work. So I wanted you to think this morning a little bit about how annoying you are, or how likable you are. Let's take the positive spin. I know I can be exceedingly annoying. My husband said he's got a list ready to go that he'll roll out if I need it. But I'm more interested in making sure I don't have habits and favourite little things that are potentially going to cost me money in the workplace. Because business is relationship driven now, and I know you all know this. So to give you a little context about me, to make sure you know I know what I'm talking about, I've had my own business for 7 years. I run the Cmpany. We have a terrific team there. I have a weekly spot on Sunrise where we talk about the issue of the day, and I'm supposed to give my etiquette angle on that, but sometimes the stupidity around the etiquette of the day is astounding. Have any of you seen me on Sunrise? No, none of you? Super one, thank you. You're all probably already at your desk. I have a book out called Etiquette Secrets, which launched earlier in the year, and I work with many of these companies that you see on the screen and a couple of charities on there. But my point this morning is that my clients are your clients. So that is to suggest the level of expectation about service delivery and personal branding has gone up. What does that mean for you? If you're not keeping up, this could cost you a promotion, could cost you a pay rise, could cost you your KPIs, could cost you new business, could cost you your job. And we don't want that this morning. So let's look at a couple of tips just to get you warmed up about what I'm going to talk about. Now, I like to have a sense of humour when I speak, so please don't think I'm all cranky and bossy. I am both those things if you get it wrong. But let's look on the positive. Say good morning to strangers. Be someone who actually does that and holds doors open with a smile. If you are walking to work with headphones in your ear, looking at your phone, you can't do that. Hem your pants. Those of you sitting here, there's got to be some of you, you've got tape or staples holding up your hem. You know who you are. Get that fixed. Leggings are not pants. Go to great lengths to conceal your underwear. That means you should be able to bend and stretch without anything frilly or lacy or Calvin Klein-y popping out. Don't wear tracksuits or Ugg boots out of the house. Now, if you're going to sport, that's fantastic. Not to the supermarket. Wear proper shoes. Well, it's got very quiet in here. Say bless you when someone near you sneezes. If you don't know them and you say bless you, that makes that person feel really terrific. Never lick your knife. Next one. Be punctual. Studies show that people who are habitually late, deep down have the impression that their time is more valuable than yours. So it comes down to arrogance. Resist the urge to interrupt or finish other people's sentences. Refer to others as ladies and gentlemen, not as the geezer over there and that chick, the Sheila, the girl. Send handwritten thank you notes. Studies show that a handwritten thank you note is up to 100 times more impacting than an email. Which means, as you prepare for Christmas this year, resist the urge to send an e-card. Think about how much time and effort you put into reading an e-card. It's nothing. Don't bother. Thongs are not shoes. Oh, I'm not making any friends this morning. Discreetly let people know if they have their skirt tucked into their undies. That's just thoughtfulness, isn't it? And e-cigarettes are obnoxious. I was recently asked to comment on e-cigarettes in the workplace. Don't be obnoxious. That's an awful habit. So do you have habits that are potentially costing you money, costing you a promotion or other opportunities? Have you asked your manager, and this is something I'm doing a lot of work in CBA at the moment, has said, can you please get our team to ask me if I've got annoying habits? Because they might have a list as well. So if we talk about how this relates to your personal brand, and there's a lot of talk about personal branding in the marketplace, but my take on it is fashion mistakes that you can make that will ill-represent you, that suggest you're sloppy, that your work is sloppy. Or the positive side suggests that your work is immaculate because you dress beautifully. And if we look at the first impression, let's say you're meeting a new client, you want to make sure they like you and it goes well. The first impression in the first 3 seconds is basically summarized into 3 components. Your personal presentation. So I want you to think where you're sitting now, the amount of thought you put into your personal presentation. Why did you choose that outfit? What does that say about you? If you think, well, what does my personal presentation say about me? Did I do my hair? Did I shave? Or did I wear pants because I couldn't be bothered? Can I see those hairy legs at the bottom of your trousers, ladies? Does your hair need a retouch? When did you last upgrade your glasses? Is your tie in a 4-in-hand knot, or is it just the knot you did at school? Sorry, you should be in a half Windsor or a full Windsor. Little things make up the overall impression you create, not just the big things. Body language, 38%. Are you a sloucher? I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, you are. Most of you. And speech. So when we meet someone for the first time, unfortunately, it can be broken down very specifically into these 10 factors that we're taking into account. Now, this is from a book called You Are What You Wear, written by William Thorby. And when we are looking at a person, we are unfortunately very visually based. They say men are 97% visual. They make up their mind by what they see, first of all. Women, we're 93% visual. And we are deciding your economic level, your education, your fashion awareness. Think about yourself as we go through this, your trustworthiness, degree of sophistication, social position, your success, moral character, social background, and your future. All of those things we are subconsciously deciding about you based entirely on the clothing choices that you have made today. Yikes. So those of you who just wore it because it was ironed, feeling guilty. So what are the style faux pas that could be costing you in your career? And the rule of thumb I like to go with, does anyone know, I'm full of these little expressions where rule of thumb comes from. Does anyone know where that expression originates? The thing with etiquette, it all started somewhere. That's why I love it. There was a reason we started it. Rule of thumb used to be a measure before where you would gauge how far something was, particularly in woodworking, where the plank wood might be that wide, or two rules of thumb. Isn't that interesting? 2 people are nodding. Good, I think that's fascinating. If you can dress how you want to be addressed, you will find doors opening for yourself. If you dress sloppily, you will find you don't receive the respect you might like. If you dress professionally, there is an overwhelming perception that you are professional, that your work is immaculate because you look immaculate, and it could be completely wrong. Look at me, I'm a perfect example. That was a small joke at myself. But I try to look immaculate because if I aim for immaculate, I might just get to really well groomed, and that creates a perception about me and my professionalism. So if we look a little more closely, and I like to get into the specifics, so let's get into the nitty-gritty here. Gents, your suit should be dark coloured in navy or grey. Avoid black. Why avoid black? It's associated with the service industry, and also some people think it is the colour worn by those on the wrong side of the tracks, the working class. Now that's not obviously how we think in Australia, but some people may have that impression. So avoid black suits, gents. Choose single-breasted or 2 buttons. The fashion for single-breasted at the moment will pass, so a 2-button is your best bet. Shirt should always be lighter than your suit. So that look that Brad Pitt sometimes does of a grey suit with a black shirt, I mean, that looks awesome on him, doesn't it? And if you look like Brad Pitt, go for it. But a darker tie, a light suit, dark shirt, dark tie, or light tie is not your best look. So aim for shirts in pink, light blue or white. Make sure they suit your skin tone. Gents, if you have a ruddy skin tone and you wear a pink shirt, you will look sunburnt. Keep your top button done up if you're wearing a tie, and cuff sleeves should not have a more professional look than button-down shirts, if you want to do that. Rolling up your sleeves in the workplace makes you look like you're a politician ready for a photograph. It's not necessary, it's air-conditioned in here. Flat front pants with no cuffs or pleats. And that, I apologise, that photo's a little blurry on this one. Now let's get a little bit more specific. Consider cuffs. So let's say the sales are coming up and you're thinking, I want to overhaul my personal brand. You can look after your own character. I'm interested in your image. Cuffs versus button sleeves. Pocket square for special occasions. My husband thinks pocket square is a bit feminine for the workplace, a bit flouncy, but I think they look wonderful. So for special occasions, he pops one in. Consider leather-soled shoes over rubber-soled shoes. They make a wonderful sound on the floor, and if you purchase them on sale, it's not an overly expensive exercise. Ensure your tie is a half Windsor or a full Windsor knot. The 4-in-hand is the knot you do at school. Suggest a little bit of immaturity. Make the next step to half Windsor, and they should sit on the line of your belt, not shorter, not longer. If you're young, you can get away with a skinny tie. If you're not young, you need to go the wider tie, and you need a double. If you're not young and slim, you need the double vents in the back of your jacket to give you that room to be comfortable. If you're slim, you can have a single vent. Tie should always pick up a colour from your suit or shirt. All right, you're squirming in your seats? Perfect. Be aware of the soft collar on a casual shirt. It looks good on no one. So on your casual days, if you elect to not wear a tie, you must have a stiff collar. Top button can be undone. Oh, don't have a top button undone with a tie. It's fine at 5 o'clock drinks. It looks quite hot actually, but not during the day. Stubble, anywhere. What does that say about you? I just couldn't be bothered today. I know it's in fashion, but if you were doing my finances, I actually ask my financial advisor to wear a tie when he meets me because it raises the gravity of our meeting. And he continues to refuse because he lives in Brisbane. But we have this discussion every time. It gives me a sense of confidence in his abilities. Wet look hairstyles, piercings, visible tattoos, jewellery on a man, coloured socks or light coloured shoes are all faux pas. I have no hidden agenda except to help you. All of those of you who are giving me daggers right now. High shine black shoes. Any style you like, so long as it's one of those, is your best choice. Go for a slim sole, it's much more stylish. Now you don't have to make all these changes today, but if your Christmas bonus comes through, fantastic. All right, what are you saying about yourself on casual days? Is today a casual day? So you don't have to all wear ties, is that right? I'm stunned. Did you know that on casual days productivity drops by up to 30%? Casual dress code, casual mindset, drop in productivity. Think about that. Ladies, your turn. Pantyhose, are more professional than bare legs. I know we don't all love pantyhose, but I tell you what, I've come to love control tops. So there's a love-hate relationship there. Dress up for work. The best way for you to have a work wardrobe that works for you is to cut your wardrobe in half and say that 50% of your wardrobe is only work clothes. So when you go into Witchery or you go into Zara, it's not something that's going to work all the time. That's just for work, that's just for weekends. Ensure there's no midriff or cleavage. Keep your shoulders covered in the workplace. Skirts should be just to the knee or just below. Now, I have an expression, if when you sit down you have to put something in your lap because people can see Woi Woi, then it's too short. Now, for those of you who don't live on the Central Coast, Woi Woi is a suburb. It's quite close to the entrance. So watch that. Skirts, faux pas, skirts above the knee. We've just got the Woi Woi test. Exposed shoulders, strappy shoes, evening attire at your desk. It's very distracting to be dressed for a nightclub sitting at your desk. Cleavage, sneakers or thongs on with a suit on your way to work. You can wear lovely flats instead of wearing sneakers. And doing your makeup at your desk. I mean, I've had people say, what's wrong with that photo? But I know it's obvious to all of us here, isn't it? Some of the men are going, no, what's wrong with it? For ladies, a heel is a much better look for us, and closed heel and toe is more professional than slingbacks or peep toes. Fingers and toes should always match. If you're choosing to wear peep toes, make sure your toes are immaculate. They should be gorgeous. Professional dress, professional mindset, you're a productive person. Now, Sarah Phillips says jewellery takes people's minds off your wrinkles, so I'm always blinging up everything I can so that you're not looking at the wrinkles. But wrinkles are good if they're, experienced. Now, a couple of things about men. Visible jewellery is distracting on a man in business. If I'm talking to you about millions of dollars and your pinky ring is catching my eye, I'm going to be thinking about why you're wearing a pinky ring and why you didn't shave today. One wedding ring is acceptable. Invest in business-style sunglasses. You know, you see gentlemen walking down the street and they're wearing a lovely suit and they look great, and then they've got their white Oakley fishing glasses on. That doesn't work. Ensure your watch, wallet and glasses are clean and in excellent condition. Gentlemen, make sure you update your glasses. They don't look good for 10 years. You need to go with the style. Invest in quality pens, compendiums and folders. So when you are signing a deal, or your KPIs, or your Christmas card, or the credit card bill at lunch, you have a nice pen. Quick check on the pen you have right now. Okay, let's not. Something to think about for Christmas. You don't have to spend a fortune on these things. Any quick questions about personal branding? Terrific. All right, let's get into the business etiquette. As I mentioned earlier, likability counts for up to 30% at work. Don't be annoying. Do you do annoying things? Oh, I know some of you must do. Now, I wanted to stress that there is a way of doing everything. And if we can get this right, we will make sure we are invited back. We are on the good guest list. We are promoted. We do get the perks. But only if we get things right. Can you all see that? It's a little joke. There was very little laughter. So I thought I would start with some of my business etiquette top picks. If you are running late, phone ahead. Don't text. Don't be slack. Make the effort. Ignore your phone in the company of others. When you are with me, I will be present. I will not be distracted by a beep that my phone rings that I got from who knows who. You will have my undivided attention. Make after you your favourite expression. Return calls and emails that business day, even if it's just to say, I'm working on it, I haven't got the answer for you yet, but I will have that to you soon. Be on time to meetings and be present in that meeting, which means you're not checking your phone. Don't have an annoying ringtone or voicemail. I heard one this morning. Sir? Yes, it was annoying. Keep Facebook for social friends and not your boss. I have a client who said, I said, welcome back from France. Did you have a great time? Yes. Would you like to see the photos? And because I'm 42, I thought he was going to pull out his photos. And I said, yes, please. That'd be great. And he said, great. I'll send you a link on Facebook. They're all up there. So now I have a client who can see me having barbecue on the weekend with my dogs. And you go, that's not cool. I figured out how to work that out. But keep that separate. HR directors, the first thing they do when they're looking you up online is go Google your name, what comes up. Answer the phone with your name and a smile. When you answer it, hello, you make me work for it. Oh, is this Anna? Yes. Backwards and forwards. Be polite, use your name. Choose a ringtone as close to ring ring as possible, and in the workplace, of course, it should be on silent. If you're with someone and your phone rings, always say, do you mind if I take this call? Or don't take the call. Because when you answer the phone, it suggests to that person, this person is more interesting and of more value than this person. So when I was walking my dog yesterday and I ran into a friend, a mother from preschool, my phone rang. I ignored it because I didn't want her to feel like she wasn't as valuable. You might think, well, that's a bit excessive. But really, before we had phones, we wouldn't have stopped and ignored one person for another. Some of you here don't know what it was like to not have a phone. I was 23, I think, when I got my first. Return calls by the end of business and leave a concise voicemail message. Who gets this message sometimes? Hi, it's Anna. Can you call me back? About what? So annoying. Do you do that? I'm sure none of you do that, but do you receive those messages? Be specific. Give them something to call you back about. Don't take calls in the facilities, in the lift, in a meeting, at the theatre, crossing the road, walking down the street, in the company of others, in confined spaces, on a plane. Oh, I'm pushing some buttons this morning. You're all looking at me going, oh, well, that doesn't apply to me. And then my number one rule around that is your device is not the third person in the room. If there's not a third person in the room, give that person your undivided attention. When it comes to social media, I was asked to touch on this today because obviously it's a factor. Now, we've established we're going to respond to emails by the end of the business, but remember that emails are the property of your employer and they are now admissible in court. They're also admissible in your appraisal. Do you need to send that email? Could you go and see the person instead? And how would you feel if that was on the front page of the paper? I've had things on not the front page of the paper, but come out, my comments about tattoos in the media. I received 3,000 messages of displeasure, shall we say, via the Sunrise website, thousands of tweets, and I had to shut down all my things because of comments I saw that came out in the media, which I stand by. So I'm in the clear, not with the man who wrote Sons of Anarchy. He caught onto my, Sons of Anarchy, that TV show. He found my tweets, my comments that were saying, I don't think tattoos are a good look, and if you get one, you need to be able to cover it up so that it doesn't hurt your chances of employment, which they talked about on the project last night. Anyway, he didn't agree with me, and so he retweeted it. My point is, if you stand by what you say, you've got nothing to worry about. If you drink and tweet, drink and post, take photographs of your boss at the Christmas party, which could be handy at your appraisal, am I right? But don't put it on Facebook. All right, now when it comes to meeting a person for the first time, we've established that 55% of the first impression is your clothing choices, your personal presentation. So having an introduction that is compelling and correct goes a long way towards making sure you are the person they form a strong connection with. So if you just introduce yourself as, "G'day, I'm Martin Fox, happy birthday." Where are you? Happy birthday, Martin. If you just introduce yourself as, "G'day, I'm Martin." Marty. Marty who? I would remember you now because it's your birthday. But we need to give people not only an ability to remember you, but the ability to place you. Now, the etiquette of using your full name goes back to the day where our last name was an indication of what we did for a living, who our family was, and potentially our lineage to the throne. So we would say our full name so that people could go, you're Martin Fox from the fox hunting family. We would say, yes, well, I know your uncle and my cousins and you go to the same school. So Foxy and I would have a connection. But if I don't hear his last name, then not only will I not remember him when I'm saying I'm looking for a financial planner, someone who can handle the big shots. Martin, he didn't give me his last name. I'll just ring CBA and get the next one. Give people that opportunity to place you and to remember you. So whenever I meet a person, and I met some of you this morning, I say, "Anna Musson, pleased to meet you." So make sure you're saying, "Good morning," not "Hi, how's it going," or "Sup," or "How's it?" "Good morning, I'm Anna Musson, pleased to meet you, John." If you don't say their name here, you will forget it. When we're introducing one person to another, and let's think about the Christmas parties that are coming up, you might be taking your partner or going along with work colleagues, you need to say the name of the more important person first. So if you're with a client and your boss, who's more important? Client or boss? The client, always the client. So you will say, "Bill Client, allow me to introduce you to John Smith. He's the GM of distribution in Wealth, and he's also just been to Greece." And then the two of them can talk about their brilliant trip through Greece. Or you could say he also has a golden retriever. Give them something to talk about. Now, in this case, I've used a work context. We were just discussing the benefits of personal and business insurance in the building industry. Yawn, that's an incredibly boring topic, no offence. But in context, that's appropriate. In a social setting, give them something to talk about. It's also particularly useful if one of the people you're speaking to is incredibly dull. You can introduce them and then you can go. Now, when introducing people for the first time, don't say, "How are you?" That's a habit that's going to be tough to break. But I really want to put it in your head that when you meet someone for the first time, it's an insincere filler. It's met with an insincere filler reply. "How are you?" For the record, you should say, "Well, thank you," not "good." "I'm well, thank you," and "How are you?" "I'm well, thank you." Try to think of something a little more interesting. "Oh, it's wonderful that you made it here in the lovely sunshine," or "I hope you avoided the rain today," or "Isn't it terrific spring has sprung," or something contextual. Because "how are you" really is just a little bit lacking effort. Once you've established some rapport with the person, "How are you" is fine, because they'll say, "Well, you know, John's finally finished the backyard and we're looking forward to going caravanning this weekend," but not if you don't know them. Kissing hello on first meeting is not appropriate in business, nor is assuming people know who you are or looking over your shoulder when you are meeting someone. Do we all know someone who does that? You meet them and they're looking over your shoulder for someone more interesting. I hate that. I also don't like not being interesting enough to get their full attention. Now, you're going to be going to functions. And it's going to be super fun, and I want to help you maximise the opportunities at these functions, which means you need to be able to make an entrance. How do you make an entrance? I'm going to show you. First of all, you put your phone away. So for some of you, you have palpitations to start with. Put your phone away. Now, this is the... Can you still hear me? Sorry. All right. So this is the event. And let's say the TV there is the bar. I'm going to dress well for the event and gussing myself up outside the door. I need a door. This is the doorway. I'm going to pause in the doorway and do something natural, like do up my jacket. And you've all noticed me. Then I'm going to form a straight line across the room, ignoring everyone, and going straight to the bar. From the bar, I'm going to order a mineral water because soft drink is for teenagers, orange juice is for the morning, and you don't want your first drink to be champs or beer because you'll scull it. So you're going to order a mineral water because that's what adults drink, and then you're going to look at who's here and work out your next step. Now, the idea of doing that is people will see you when you are looking calm and confident, not skulking in the door, checking your phone, getting two hands, start drinking and looking around for your mates. Make an entrance. Management will say, "Oh, look, there's Marty Fox. I must remember to promote him for Christmas." Small minds talk about people. Medium-sized minds talk about events, but big minds talk about ideas. Talk about ideas. Did you hear about something they're doing at Barangaroo? Isn't that interesting how the warships are going to be in town? I hear Brisbane's shut down. Had you heard about that? What did you think about? Have you heard about? Where are you heading for Christmas holidays? Ask about people's ideas. And don't be the one who talks about gossip. Now, you've been talking to someone for a little while. Oh, I've got all these screens here. You see someone coming towards you, it's your boss's wife. And you're thinking, quick, don't fail me, memory. Who is she? Oh, it's gone, I can't remember. The best way to recover from that, you can only call someone mate or sweet or whatever you call for so long. If you really know you can't get around it, it's good to just fess up. It's great to see you again. I know we met at last year's Christmas party, but I've just had 300 champagnes and my mind has gone blank. Now, you're not going to say that because you wouldn't do that. But my mind has gone blank. Don't say forgot or can't remember you, because that makes people feel not so good about themselves. Great to see you again. Oh, I've just drawn a mental blank. And we want to make sure that they feel special. All right, well, you've been talking to the boss's wife for 10 minutes. And let's say she's brilliant company. She's talking about clothes, and let's say your boss is a man and his wife is a woman. are you going to move on to the next person? You can't say, I'm going to the dunny, because we would never say that. We would just say, excuse me. We'd never refer to the facilities. You can't say, I'm going to get a drink, because then you're obligated to get one for her. You can't pretend your phone's ringing, because you would ignore it, because that's bad manners. You're stuck. So what we want to do is put the emphasis on her. It's been lovely. Look, first of all, if you find someone else, particularly if you don't like them, you can introduce them to each other and then you're free. But if you can't do that, you need to say, look, it's been lovely speaking with you, Mary. I've really enjoyed hearing about your dog toenail clipping business. There's probably a lot of other people here that you would like to speak to tonight. So I wish you all the best, and I hope our paths cross again. Make sure you don't say, I've got a lot of people here that I need to speak to. I'm so important. And if you are hosting, you'll need to introduce people all night and not say, will you excuse me, I've just seen someone more interesting arrive. You can think it, but not say it. And here we got it here. So for social function etiquette, dress up, not down. How many canapes can you take at a time? 1. Canapes should be a bite-sized piece. Eat before you attend if you know it's going to be a cocktail event, and don't hover around the food. If you know the waitresses, you've seen these people, they go, oh, the kitchen's over here. Oh, hello again, hello, thank you, and you have half a dozen canapes each time. Learn to hold everything in your left hand. Now this is a terrific trick that I don't have a champagne flute handy to show you. So we'll have to come back to that one. And expect to make about 3 genuine contacts, no more than that. You don't need to work the room. Make 3 terrific contacts. Leave before it becomes a nightclub. You know that tipping point where it goes from cordial to, oh, it's getting a bit fun now. That's when you go home. If you want to party, you can go elsewhere. But at a work function, it's really important that you don't suddenly find yourself feeling frisky. Now, ladies, we never take our shoes off, ever. We take our shoes off when we get home. So if you're at an event and your feet are getting sore, you can't just take them off, not even for dancing. And same applies for you gents, but I don't see a lot of that. Congratulate the host, and if they are nearby, only if they're nearby, and go. You do not need to say goodbye to everyone you've spoken to over the course of the evening, because that will take 5 more beers and 5 more minutes. Well, 15 more minutes if you're me. Now, I mentioned this earlier about the handwritten note. So once you've left the function, if you want to send a note to the host, there's a way of doing it. When you send a note, it says you refer to the past, the present, and the future. Dear John, dear Tim, thank you so much for having me speak at Commonwealth Bank. I particularly enjoyed Mud and Fox's birthday, and I look forward to catching up with you again in the near future. Now, my top picks, and I'm going to leave you with these. My top etiquette picks for your continued business success. In the company of others, don't give your phone top priority. Say, do you mind if I answer this? Resist the tattoo trend. Remember the thank you wave in traffic. Refer to the facilities as the facilities or the ladies, but not any of the other euphemisms or worse things that you may have heard before in your life. And don't be online at the expense of being in the present. You have been a lovely group. Are there any quick questions before we finish? I should rephrase that. Is anyone game to ask me a question? Well, you've been a terrific group, and the final thing I'd like to leave you with is this Christmas, send a handwritten card, not an e-card. Thank you very much. Shall I hand back to Tim?